Hello, I'm Ivan Zhdanov. Thank you for watching. Here's what's happening in Russia, Ukraine and the rest of the world. In the Donetsk region of Ukraine, Russian forces have almost completely surrounded the important settlement of Velika Novoselka. Yesterday evening, an assault on the settlement began. The Ukrainian armed forces have only a small corridor left to retreat. Defending Velika Novoselka is no longer possible. The offensive continues west of Pokrovsk. This is one of the last large cities in the Donetsk region that has not been captured. Putin's forces have entered Kotlina and moved closer to Udachne. Nearby is one of Ukraine's most important mines, the only one extracting coking coal. Under the threat of the advancing front, the mine has stopped operations. This will seriously impact Ukraine's metallurgy industry. Meanwhile, Russian channels have published a video showing the bodies of deceased people in the village of Russkaya Porечная, which was recently retaken in the Kursk region of Russia. The South claims that these are civilians who were tortured and killed by Ukrainian soldiers. The footage is not suitable for YouTube. The first video shows people lying among trash and rocks in some kind of basement. Although it is claimed that their hands were tied, the footage does not confirm this. The basement looks more like a temporary shelter for cold and frightened people. The second video shows two bodies tied together with clothing, with one of them having their hands bound. The overall scene suggests that the bodies were deliberately placed in the basement. Unlike in the first video, the entire situation requires investigation. We will update you with any important details and findings as they emerge. This is how people are being sent to serve in Russia. In Tuva, military police are beating recruits with batons and stun guns before sending them to the front lines. The video was filmed at a military base. Soldiers are being beaten and humiliated because they refuse to return to the front after being wounded. Both are in serious condition, with reports stating that one of them suffered a broken spine. After the video surfaced online, the officer responsible for the beatings was detained. Last night, Ukrainian drones attempt another attack on Kazan. This time, the target may have been the local aircraft plant. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that 31 drones were destroyed across several regions. There were no reports of casualties or significant damage. In Russia, forcing businesses to pay extra fees is common. How does it work? In the Saratov region, money is being collected from restaurant owners. The local government sent out letters instructing them to give 0.2% of their revenue to support contract soldiers. It is supposedly voluntary, but since the letter comes from the government, business owners are afraid to refuse. What would you do if your car fell through the ice on a river? Try to escape. But not this fisherman from Primorye, Russia. He did not try to get out. Instead, he started scooping water out with a bowl. Meanwhile, the largest oil spill in the Black Sea did not stop religious bathing. Even though 146 people had already sought medical help and a young student died. The religious bathers were not deterred. They claim the water is clean. In Russia, people are not always punished for cruelly killing animals. That is why animal rights activists in the Kemerovo region are celebrating a victory. A criminal case has been opened over the killing of 10 stray dogs. It is very likely that local authorities were involved. Activists had to file 50 police reports to get the case started. Russian oligarch Alisher Usmanov has had more than 6 million euros unfrozen in his Swiss accounts. He is under European sanctions. However, the money can only be used to pay for the upkeep of his property, a mansion in the United Kingdom and 2 helicopters in France. Such payments are usually approved. Meanwhile, poor Russians now owe more than 600 billion rubles in loans, which is about $6 billion. In Russia, most people take out loans only when they have no other money left. Often they cannot pay them back. Now their debt has increased by nearly 22%. Israel and Hamas have exchanged their first hostages as part of a ceasefire agreement. Israel released 90 Palestinians in exchange for 3 young women captured by Hamas. They had been held for 471 days. Before the Palestinian prisoners were freed, dozens of protesters gathered outside the prison. Israel forces had to use force to disperse them. In Gaza, crowds of aggressive residents also had to be pushed back. In total, Hamas is expected to release 33 Israel hostages in exchange for 2,000 Palestinians. In the United States, TikTok has been blocked. For the past few years, American authorities have demanded that the social network be sold to them, threatening to ban it over national security concerns. Yesterday, the app was officially banned. However, about 170 million Americans use TikTok. Donald Trump said he likes TikTok and promised to delay the ban and resolve the issue. After that, TikTok started working again. Today, Trump will officially take office as President of the United States. Yesterday, he held a press conference ahead of his inauguration. He promised to end the war in Ukraine and prevent a third world war.
I will end the war in Ukraine, I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening, and you have no idea how close we are.
He also states that every radical and foolish order from the Biden administration will be cancelled within hours after taking the oath. Trump promised to sign 100 executive orders on his first day in office, saying it will be very interesting to watch on TV. Today is January 20th. Those were all the important news updates for now. Don't forget to like the video and leave a comment to help it reach more people. See you tomorrow.